And good morning, everybody. Or is it really a good morning, everybody? Welcome to Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, I'm going to tell you exactly what I was thinking with about 4 minutes-ish, 3 minutes-ish to go in regulation.
Okay.
I saw the penalty on Brock Nelson, and all I was thinking to myself was, please be bleeding, please be bleeding, please be bleeding. It's going to be a double minor. It's going to be a 4-minute penalty, and this game is over. And there's just I was the guy who was literally counting my poker chips at the time, thinking, how in the I know the power play wasn't good all night, but in my own mind, it's not that I necessarily banked it, right? But I thought, this game's over. I mean, we're moving on. 2-1. I understand anything can happen. I understand that. But how do you not think as a fan they're going to have 4 minutes of power play with two of the top 5 players in the world, despite the fact their power play was struggling? I mean, didn't you kind of get that feeling? I know that. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yes. Yes. And to me, it felt like the Avs were going to win that game. And what has Dallas led so far in this series? 1 minute and 4 seconds or something like that? I mean, as far as played leading out in front hockey to this point. I'm not saying the Avs have dominated because they're down 2-1. They've lost 2 overtime games consecutively, all, 2 1-goal games, but that's the NHL playoffs. They're going to be tight games. There's not much to choose from between these two teams. Credit Dallas where credit is due. That's a game that they, I think, probably wake up this morning still shaking their heads thinking, probably should have lost that game. Certainly could have lost that game, but they didn't lose that game. And now all of a sudden they've got all the, for whatever you want to count it for, momentum on their side. You can't go 0 for 6 in the penalty play. I'll just make the stupid, obvious statement right up front. There really is no other stat that you can attach or attend to this game. If you're going to go 0 for 6 in a game like this, chances are you're going to lose the hockey game, and that's exactly what happened. So, hey, now you're sitting there. The pressure is all on you now to get Game 4 and send this thing back to Dallas in a best-of-3 series now, with Dallas having the home ice advantage. It was 2 games, Eric. I think you'd agree. 2 consecutive games where the Avs had tremendous, not good, tremendous opportunities. Up 3-2 in Dallas, midway through the third, was a great opportunity to put the screws on them and get out of there 2-0. Last night certainly had opportunities with 6 power play situations, couldn't come up with any. I rest my case.
All right, before we get to the lead, want to let you know about the upcoming auction at Roller Auction on Wednesday, April 30th. There's an auction featuring computers, printers, televisions, cell phones, jewelry, watches, and more. Bidding is started at rollerauction.com. Don't forget to go to rollerauction.com to learn about upcoming auctions. Get what you want at the price you want today at Roller Auction. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
I want to just get this out of the way as well. The Avalanche had no business getting this game to overtime. We complain, NFL fans complain all the time about the refs. You want to talk about some early major blown egregious calls by the referees to put the Avalanche on the power play. Nichushkin was falling down. Rantanen had nothing to do with it. Zero. And the Stars power play suddenly became a 4-on-4, and Nichushkin scores. I'm not saying the Avs would have gone scoreless. I just know that goal would not be on the board. That to me is an absolute matter of fact. With that, I think it is only fitting that the Avs, didn't score on the power play in overtime, considering they were 0 for 6. 7 total shots on goal. When Jared Bednar was asked what needed to be better on the power play after the game, he was beyond succinct, and he said, everything. So with that, what is more disappointing? The Avs power play last night, 4-minute man advantage. I'm still shaking my head. What's more disappointing, that or they wasted another great effort by Blackwood? This guy has given up 5 goals in regulation in the opening 3 games. How many times have we looked at this Avs roster over the last 5-6 years and said, look at all of this offense if they only had goaltending? And oh, by the way, one more thing. Let's not be totally cynical. Really, that's my job to be cynical. Let's not be totally cynical and say, well, he did give up a couple of goals in overtime. No one's making those saves.
Right.
Point blank, perfectly placed shots. Patrick Waugh doesn't make those saves. Dominic Hasek doesn't make those saves. Marty Brodeur doesn't make those saves. Nobody does.
Yeah, you make your point, and it's a good one. Well, I mean, you give credit to Dallas for the way they're defending. They're defending the Avs right now. It seems ridiculous to me when you have the type of firepower that we're talking about on that side of the equation that they're not scaring the goal a little bit more. I guess they ended up tied in shots with 28 each. So they, I guess, created some opportunities and a couple of pretty decent scoring chances that they just weren't able to get through, but they got to figure that out. I mean, it's you're right. The casual fan will say, well, 0 for 6, and that's me. I mean, 0 for 6 on the power play, but it goes beyond that. Why aren't you making the most of scoring opportunities, whether it be with the man advantage or just in 5-on-5 situations? Why aren't you finishing? Why aren't you getting enough good scoring opportunities to keep this team on its heels or a little bit off balance, whatever the case may be? So that's the challenge for Jared Bednar moving forward.
Okay, this is one thing, and this is just a casual observation. Picture in basketball, a team playing zone defense, and the zone gets extended. That's what I see is what's going on with this power play. When you have 2 guys at the point, specifically, or near the blue line, let's make it, some people may not know what the point is, near the blue line, Taves and, Makar as an example. The Stars players are not giving them any room. They're playing as tightly as they can. Usually, you give those guys maybe a little bit room, maybe give them a little bit of room. But these guys are getting suffocated at the blue line, not being able to generate and start that power play. And that's what I think those guys need to work on. Having, for lack of a better phrase, practicing with guys in their face at the blue line. Because there's no spacing out there for the Avs to pass. They are a crisp passing team. They are very good at it. They're very quick with their passing. There's just no room out there. There's room in the middle. There's room in the middle of the ice on the power play, but not to generate the initial pass.
Haven't we had this conversation for a couple of years now relative to the Avs on the power play? There is an artistic level that they seem to want to reach. And the way, and as such, there are times when I feel like I'm watching them that they pass up, for lack of a better description, just a brute force effort to try to score instead of going for another pass to make it the perfect opportunity to score on a pretty goal. I don't mean to be overly simplified by this, and I'm not saying that they were guilty of it last night.
Okay. I know you like your hockey terms, Bruce, standing on your head, puck luck, all those things. You always laugh at me when I bring that stuff up because it is so cliche. Mm-hmm. With that, here's another hockey phrase. The Avs were caught playing with their food too much. That's a hockey term. They were caught playing with their food, getting too cute, not putting enough pucks on net. It's about the only way you can put the puck in net is to put the puck on net. And you're not going to win a lot of games with 15 shots on goal over the opening 2.5 periods. They were getting too cute with their passing. They were playing with their food in the power play. I mean, look at overtime. McKinnon turns the puck over twice because he's getting too cute. Get the damn puck on net. Get somebody in front of the net. You can't score if you don't put the puck on the net. And they just didn't do that enough. They needed to be more aggressive doing that, and they just weren't.
Volume is what you're looking for, right? Volume of shots. The more shots, the better chances you have to get one through.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Listen, Bruce, if somebody's standing right in front of you and you have the puck, clearly you don't shoot it hoping it's going to go right through him and a whole bunch of traffic. You do need to pick your spots, but they are looking for the perfect pass. They are looking for the perfect opportunity to shoot it on goal. Sometimes you just have to throw it out there. Like when you look at the Stars' first goal of the game, that puck had no shot of going into the net until the guy had his stick up here and then it deflected right down. Sometimes you have to hope for that as well, right? And that's how they wound up scoring. But they want the clear lane. They want to be able to see, okay, we can put it right in the back of the net. You can't always play that way. Sometimes you have to throw it out there, hope for a rebound, somebody's standing in front and they chip it in. They want the wide open three-pointer. That's what they want. Sometimes you have to do with a guy in your face.
Good way of putting it, yeah.
And then hope somebody gets a rebound. That's
and the irony is you've got power players. Yeah, it's a very good comp. But they've got power guys. I mean, McKinnon's a power guy. Nichushkin is a power guy. And they're good shooters.
But
McCarr is certainly a very good shooter. He's not a finesse guy necessarily.
But McKinnon is a power guy, and he can push through people, but he's not standing in front of your net. Nichushkin
you're right.
In front of your net.
Yeah.
Landeskog stands in front of your net. Maybe Lehkonen stands in front of your net. And by the way, I did not like the top line combination at all. I am not a hockey coach. I want a power guy paired with McKinnon. I don't want two finesse guys in Druin and Natchez. That doesn't work for me personally.
Yeah.
I want a Nichushkin or Lehkonen on that top line. Pick Natchez or Druin. I don't give a shit. To me, those are the best balanced lines. Okay? You need someone to get those pucks deep. You need someone to forecheck. You need someone to stay in front of the net. Druin isn't that guy. Natchez isn't that guy. Now, let's see what they wind up doing with Landeskog. Yesterday, great to see him on the ice. I mean, I got chills watching it on TV when they introduced him. 13 minutes, 18 shifts, led the team with 6 hits. I guess my question to you is, with this team right now, down 2-1, you have to pick one. I know you hate this game. We used to do it on radio all the time. And your answer is going to be it's a combination of both. I know it's a combination of
nuance. I know. Go ahead.
What is the most important contribution for Gabriel Landeskog heading into the next game? His influence in the locker room or his play on the ice in Game 4?
I'm going to go with.
They desperately. Go ahead.
I think play on the ice, and I don't think it's even. I don't think it's even close. And I know you're shaking your head, and you can take and I hear you. Here's my deal. if you're not going to curry emotional energy and use it to your advantage last night, I don't know when you're going to do it. That place was absolutely otherworldly. Maybe it had too much of an effect. I don't know. The physiological thing and the emotional thing and how teams react because of it is probably over my pay grade. But I will say this about Gabe Landeskog. He did enough on the ice for me last night that he was a spark plug. I mean, he was hitting guys, he was taking shots, he was hunting. I think that he can be helpful on the look right now. I think that they have a bigger issue, and you've already brought up his name, and I'll pile on. And it's a player that I like, but I don't like where Drouin is right now in his game. And I thought on the power play in particular has not been good at all. I would expect a change to be made with him specifically. I don't know. I mean, give me the emotional reason for Landeskog.
Okay. Well, this is about prep work going into Game 4. It is about mental. Where are you at mentally going into Game 4? I have not watched every Avalanche game in the history of the franchise since they moved from Quebec. Guilty as charged. But I'm guessing this is one of the top 5 most gut-wrenching losses in the history of this organization. Notice how I threw that in there.
Nice.
If you're going to lose a game like
I appreciate it.
If you're going to lose a game like this, you need your steady leader, your captain, to steer you through this tidal wave that nearly capsized your boat. If they've ever needed him, it is the next 2 days, and thank goodness for them, it is 2 days. I think that they will make changes. I think that Landeskog is a calming voice in a tsunami. And yes, he could go out there and score a hat trick in the next game. And you can come back to me and say, see, it's better that he was on the ice. Won't disagree. With that, it's going to be the prep work that goes into Game 4. It is going to be the film work that goes into Game 4 that determines the outcome of Game 4. But just as importantly, it's going to be a captain who everybody listens to and everybody follows. His words of criticism and encouragement that play a major role on how they play in Game 4. That's why I say
well said.
The C on his sweater is as important, if not more important, than what he does on the ice in Game 4.
Yes. I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's going to be very interesting because when we talk about adjustments, are we talking about adjustments or are we talking about tweaks? What do adjustments look like right now for the Avs in a game that they're basically playing evenly or are in a position to win but aren't quite doing it? So I will be very interested to see what kind of tweaks Jared Bednar comes up with, because I think that that's kind of where they are right now. I would be disappointed, excuse me, in this team if they weren't in a good place emotionally by the time that they get to Game 4. A lot of that could very well be because of the leadership of Gabe Landeskog. These guys are pros. Now, they haven't been in this position together. You got a lot of guys that haven't been in this position together. You don't have the core anymore, right? I mean, the one of the guys in the core is playing for the other team and had an assist on the game-winning goal last night.
Well, here.
So it is, yeah.
This is what I found so interesting about the game-winning goal. You had 2 guys who are getting beaten up in Dallas right now after the first 2 games. Rantanen and Mason Marchment. Both guys are probably getting killed down there. Mason Marchment, he's had 8 penalty minutes in 3 games. He had 2 in the opening game, 2 in game 2. One of those penalties led to an Avalanche goal. Then the guy takes a 4-minute major at the end of regulation. Okay? He's number 1. Rantanen hasn't put up a point in this entire series until what happened in overtime. I mean, you look at every guy who was part of that trade who is currently in the playoffs, they have at least 1 point. The only guy who didn't, Rantanen. So what does Rantanen do? Wrestles the puck away from Drouin, which honestly isn't hard to do at the blue line. And then Mason Marchment sets up the game-winning goal. Mason Marchment, who put the Stars in what looked to be an untenable position at the end of the 3rd period. This guy had GOAT written all over him. And he sets up the primary assist. And then Rantanen, GOAT number 2, not greatest of all time. Where the hell is this guy? Why isn't he doing anything offensively for us? He is the guy who really started that play. That's why I think that the game-winning goal was only fitting that those 2 guys set it up. Coming up after the break, the Broncos, they're going to be busy today. They have something called the draft going on. I think you and I both agree that it is going to likely be or potentially be a running back. But now there seems to be a late push through the media. I understand. This is a media thing. But there seems to be a late push for another running back who the Broncos might draft. That's next. Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch in the DTC. Both locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook is a hangout bar or great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, the DTC, and coming soon to Parker. They are the sports bar.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Bronco Raptor or nearly $30,000 in cash the weekend of May 23rd. Get finalist entries from 10 a.m. until midnight during their daily cash drawings every 45 minutes or by redeeming player points. And all daily cash drawings that don't get picked are eligible for a second chance drawing on Wednesdays, and that can turn into extra cash. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Welcome back. Hot Takes. Goodman and Haertl. Saturday is going to be just like last Saturday. 2 games. Avalanche Stars, Nuggets against the Clippers. What did I do last week? What did I do last Saturday? Had some friends over, did a bunch of cooking. Okay? If you don't want to do any cooking, that's cool. I'm going to give you a place where you should consider catering in from. Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. And this is one thing you could consider ordering because it's amazing. It's called the Big Kahuna Belly Buster. What is that? Full rack of St. Louis ribs, whole chicken, half pound of pulled pork, half pound of beef brisket, 4 large sides, 6 pieces of cornbread, and it serves up to 5 to 7 people. That is a party. And the sides are amazing. The mac and cheese is fantastic. Southern corn bake is outstanding. Love the coleslaw as well. Cater in from Smoking Dave's Barbecue and Brew on Saturday. You will not be disappointed. This, and I've said this many times, it's worth saying again. I don't think it's just the best barbecue spot in town. It's one of the best restaurants in town. That's how great this food is. All the desserts are homemade. It's not, when you go to a barbecue place, you go to the cash register, and then they have like a big stack of cookies and saran wrap. That's not how they roll. They have all homemade desserts, and they're amazing. Go to Smoking Dave's Barbecue and Brew. You can find them off of 36th and Pecos. All right, Broncos have a draft tonight. I think a lot of people believe if Omarion Hampton is there, running back out of North Carolina, he is going to be the pick. With that, okay, very rarely would I ever talk about another radio guy when we were on the radio. Kind of felt that I was like cheating on my spouse. If I work for a radio station, I'm talking about somebody else. Now that we're doing a podcast, I have no problems saying this. Benjamin Albright of KOA is one of the most dialed-in guys on the Broncos in this market. Guys who I think are as dialed in as anyone: Troy Rank, Andrew Mason, Mike Kliss, Benjamin Albright, and Jeff Legwold. Those would be my 5 guys. When Benjamin puts something out, is he always right? No. Is he right more often than not? Does he have a lot of information? You better believe he does. He did his mock draft. He has TreVeyon Henderson out of Ohio State. I saw another mock draft from a guy who usually, historically, has been pretty accurate. He had TreVeyon Henderson at number 20. With that, from what you know, Bruce, Omarion Hampton, Henderson, who do you think the pick is? What do you think the Broncos do?
Well, I've been saying TreVeyon Henderson for over a week now. So, I mean, that's kind of where I feel they're going to go unless they move back.
Why?
That's the only thing that would.
Why?
Well,
Henderson
because
over Hampton, where Hampton is more of a 3-down back.
Oh, I disagree with you. I think Henderson's more of a 3-down back. And I think that's the reason. I think that's the here's the thing, and you're not guilty of this, but a lot of people are. Everybody gets caught up into what everybody is talking about, what all of the so-called experts are talking about, where they rate guys in certain things. We saw what Sean Payton will do in a draft last year, even though everyone was talking about, well, Bo Nix is a reach with the 12th pick, 6th quarterback. It doesn't make any difference to a guy like Sean Payton. Once he is locked in on a player and that player fits his concept of what he needs for his offense, and Alvin Kamara, for instance, in New Orleans, fits for his offense. Right. If he has his guy, it doesn't matter to him whether other people think it's a reach or he'd be available in the 2nd round or later in the 1st. They're doing their due diligence on guys that they are looking for fits. And if TreVeyon Henderson is that guy, then it won't matter to them where other people think he would be available. If he's available when they want him and he fits the mold, they will take that guy. I think there's a very real possibility that will be the pick. The only other possibility that I see is something that you and I have talked about for as long as we've been talking about potentially the draft, moving down a little in the 1st round and adding some picks with the thought that the guy that you were looking for at 20 will be available at 23, 24, fill in the number, whatever it ends up being. Could go a lot of other ways, but that's how I see it.
Okay, I do think that Omarion Hampton is more of a 3-down back. He's bigger and he's more durable.
Yep, sure.
That's just fact. He's bigger, that's fact. He's more durable, that's fact. When I look at Henderson,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not giving you the durable thing. I will give you bigger, I think Henderson. I don't know. I
Also,
like the
but
way
hold on.
Henderson is built. He's lower, wider. I like his body.
Okay, well, that's a very heterosexual thing of you to say, but I digress. TreVeyon Henderson.
I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with who I am.
I know you are with the pretty artwork you have in the background. Where did you stumble upon that? With that, TreVeyon Henderson, TreVeyon, I'm sure your wife is listening, saying, "Go F yourself, Goodman." Right? She's probably listening to the show right now that I'm insulting her pick of artwork. Yeah, see what I mean? Yeah, the fact that you said nothing tells me everything.
Well,
I think TreVeyon Henderson.
Be careful about that, right? Right.
I think TreVeyon Henderson is considered the best of the top running backs, the best blocking back of all. I think that is very attractive.
Yes.
To Sean Payton. He's very good out of the backfield. Okay, or more than good enough. Here's one way to put it. This is how I see a TreVeyon Henderson role. I do not see him as a 4-down back. I see him as a Jamar Gibbs complement to Audric Estime. I think that Estime is more of a power guy. I think that Henderson is more of a flash guy, and they might be trying to combine what they are doing in Detroit right now.
Well, if you can give me a Jamar Gibbs-like player, chances are I'll listen to you, right?
But do you really believe,
and that's
really
possible, sure.
Do you really believe that Henderson is a 3-down back? He is going to be the bell cow? Genty's a bell cow.
I do think he's a 3-down back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I do think he's a 3-down back. I think that he could be used that way. To your point, and you've just touched upon it, they do have other guys in that room, and other guys that I think Sean Payton is very intrigued with. I think Audric Estime is a guy that he's intrigued with. He has said this multiple times over the offseason when talking about running backs. Let's not forget, we have a room, and these guys need their chances as well. I think he likes the guys. Javonte Williams is no longer here. That's the piece that was ousted, and more power to him, and best of luck for him in Dallas. The Broncos have what they want returning in the running back room, and they're going to add a piece to it. So yes, to your point, it's very possible that the thought process is we have this rough cut piece in Audric Estime. What can we add to it to make that an even more dynamic and viable position than it could be? Right. I'm not going to disagree with that.
Okay. One reason why I'm so glad that I'm on social media is I get to watch Shedeur Sanders take another victory lap before the draft. Did you get a chance to see his 30-second commercial for Gatorade? Guy hasn't been drafted yet. I mean, how many guys potentially taken in the 20s get themselves a Gatorade commercial? Okay. You know, hold on. I understand he's marketable. I get it. I understand all that. I'm tired of the hype. Just go fucking play in the NFL. If you were that good, listen, if the Giants felt he was a franchise quarterback, he'd be the 3rd pick, period. I don't care how good Abdul Carter is. Don't care how good he is. Because I can tell you right now, the guy who's going to be the top pick, many people think he's the 7th best quarterback. If he would have been the 7th best quarterback if he came out last year, right? 7th best. Okay. No reasonable person is going to argue that Travis Hunter isn't a generational player potentially on both sides of the ball, right? But Tennessee is still taking a quarterback over Travis Hunter. Still taking that. Shedeur Sanders, in theory, would be the 8th quarterback taken in last year's draft. But the Browns don't want him at 2. The Giants probably aren't going to take him at 2. New Orleans is not taking him at 9. But good for you that you have your Gatorade commercial. Sizzle steak. Sizzle steak. We got all kinds of sizzle. Point is this. And I know I seem like a Shedeur basher. Again, the guy's incredibly talented, might be the best quarterback in Colorado football history. I get it. Stop getting ahead of yourself. I understand he has a deal with Gatorade. I understand it's the draft. They're going to put out a commercial ahead of it. I understand all that. But it is right on point the way the Sanders family does things. Victory laps before the game is even played. With that, I want to get through something.
I don't have any problem with the Gatorade commercial. I don't have a problem with it.
Bruce, I don't have any problem with the Gatorade commercial either. Zero. Good for him for making the money. You have a guy who has a commercial coming out and he's slipping in the draft and someone's probably going to trade up back into the first round to get him. And I'll tell you, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's Cleveland. You and I talked about this weeks ago. I said, I would not be surprised if Travis and Shedeur are on the same team. I know Pittsburgh desperately needs a quarterback. Talked to a friend of mine who's covered the team for over 30 years. He's like, we have to take somebody. With that, I want to read you a long excerpt. And you and I talked about this yesterday from a column written by Tom Pelissero of NFL Network. He evaluated every top quarterback in the draft. There were a lot of good things said about Shedeur Sanders, but unfortunately, you might say that I have a cynical slant on things with Shedeur Sanders. It's not that I might. I just look at things and I say, okay, what makes sense to me? Okay, this is what was written. Now, all of these, mind you, are anonymous sources. Sorry, that's just the way you have to do things in the media in order to get some sort of truth. People like to criticize the anonymous source. Well, if he had any balls, the guy would put his name on it. Well, if he put his name on it, he wouldn't tell the truth. There's a big difference between being on the record and being off the record. I don't understand why people don't understand that.
Yes.
But with that, as a reporter, you do have that protection of an anonymous source that you can make up if you choose to, which I'm sure there are plenty of media guys and gals who have done that. And my answer is shame on you. If you're going to use anonymous sources, make sure they are legit. With that, this was the article. He quoted a lot of executives and coaches and scouts for this piece. This is what was said about Shedeur Sanders. The worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. He is so entitled, takes unnecessary sacks, never plays on time, horrible body language, blames teammates, which is true. Remember, he threw his offensive line under the bus. The biggest thing is he's not that good. I don't necessarily agree with he's not that good. This is from a longtime AFC executive. It didn't go great in our interview. He wants to dictate what he's going to do, what's best for him. He makes you feel small. Another AFC coordinator. When things go wrong, it's not his fault. He takes a sack, blames the offensive line. NFC scouting director, who's done extensive work on Sanders. He's had so much input on the offensive game plan and who the coach is, and everything has been catered to him. The plays aren't going to be called exactly the way you want them to be run. Even last year with Pat Shurmur, a lot of mistakes he made was the stuff he just decided to call at the line of scrimmage himself. And there's no recourse of him making those decisions. Whereas in a real locker room, you make a couple of those decisions and you get your ass ripped so badly, you never want to do it again. One of those quotes was way over the top. And I understand, the guy's just not good. He's just not a good player. And I'll make sure I get it correct. Yeah, biggest thing, he's not that good. I'm sorry, that's just not true. He is more than pretty good. He brings a lot of good things to the table with his skill set. But with that, we both know what went on the last 2 years at Colorado. It was Shedeur Sanders' offense.
Sure.
Sorry, Pat Shurmur, you had an influence on it. Shedeur ran the show. And specifically last year, in his first year, that was Shedeur Sanders offense. He told the offensive coordinator, who's no longer with the team anymore, no longer in the program, he told him what we were running. He does do that. He does take too many sacks. He does come across as being arrogant. So my question is this. Let's say you look at Shedeur Sanders as accurate, on time. He could be a perfect quarterback for the right system. All of those things, Bruce. You love his talent for your system. But then you read all of this from 4 or 5 different people who did not talk to each other before they were interviewed. What do you weigh more heavily, the talent or the potential concerns when he walks in your door as an NFL?
First of all, I don't. Yeah, my deal is I don't trust anyone else with information that I should be able to get in one-on-one situations. I need the due diligence that my people do. I need to have experience with the player up front. I don't care. I'm not going to say I don't care what others are saying about him, but I don't put more weight in that than I do on my independent discovery about the player.
Well,
but I will say this: you said.
Let me. I don't mean to cut you off, but here I'm going to tie two things. I'm going to tie some things together. All right. AFC executive didn't go great in their interview. Wants to dictate what he wants to do, what's best for him. Makes you feel small. AFC coordinator, when things go wrong, not his fault. Takes a sack, blames the offensive line. Notice I paired an AFC coordinator with an AFC executive. Let's say that's the same team. That is your intel now. That is your intel. That's in your own building.
Yeah, but it's not my. Well, then that team obviously wouldn't be interested. But if it's me, I'm doing my due diligence. I mean, I don't care what other people think. I'm a be your lone wolf, do your own work, do your due diligence. If you are telling me that this is a guy, and I think that we all agree on this, he has a skill set that equates to the next level. Now, how it equates in terms of timing, successful, all of these things remains to be seen. I mean, I'm not sure that he's a guy that walks right in and takes right over. I would guess he probably isn't that player, but that's just me looking from the outside in. But I know one thing, it is incumbent upon me as a guy making this decision to have all of that stuff well in hand. If you believe, if that's the type of stuff that you believe and that you're taking away from, then obviously you don't touch a player like that, right? You don't touch him. But he is a quarterback with a skill set that equates to the next level. How much do I believe in that skill set? And along with what you're talking about, and is he the right fit in the locker room for what we're trying to do? There's a lot of things that go into that. There were a lot of things that went into Sean Payton planting his flag on Bo Nix's hill and saying, this is my guy. It's that way for any quarterback. So, no, I mean, I hear you. There are more things to take into account, probably with the Shedeur Sanders for a variety of reasons, not all to do with Shedeur. There's the Dion influence as well. Those are real things, I think, that teams deal with when they're trying to figure out the right fit for a guy. I'll say this. If Shedeur isn't taken by 21 in this draft tonight by Pittsburgh, he's going to the second round. I mean, I really feel that way, unless you see a Cleveland come up. What they've got the first pick in the second round. So, a Cleveland come up and pay a boatload of picks to move someone out of the end of the first round. Okay, maybe that happens. But I see him as a second round guy. If he's not,
no.
You got to do some. If you're going to,
hold on. Bruce,
if you are going to move up in front of no, Eric, don't yell at me. Here's the deal. Cleveland will have to pay greatly if they think that they are going to move up to 20 or 19 or something like that to leapfrog Pittsburgh at 21. That will be an expensive get. It wouldn't be as expensive as what the Broncos might have to do to get into Austin Genty territory. Certainly, I would agree with that. But it would still be an expensive move from the first pick in the second round to be in a position at the end of the first round to pick up Shedeur Sanders. Okay. That's all.
For starters, I thought you meant I thought you said if he slips past Pittsburgh. Maybe I didn't hear you. But let's say he slipped past Pittsburgh. It's not going to cost you a first-round pick next year. It's not going to cost you like that. But even if, say, Cleveland wants to go to 20, they're not going to be giving up a first-round pick next year either. It's not going to cost you like that. It'll cost you, a fourth-round pick, maybe another second-round pick. You're not going to be paying.
Yeah, second and fourth. That's a pretty good haul, though. When you're talking about a second and a fourth and a second pick at top of second round. Yeah. That is, that's a pretty significant inducement, I think. But anyway.
All right. Any thoughts on what happens with him? You want to give me a prediction on, you already said that Henderson at 20 for the Broncos. I believe the same thing. What do you think happens with Sanders? Then let's wrap this up.
I think, obviously you're going to be paying very close attention to trade possibilities and movements at later in the draft. When you start getting around the Broncos, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. I think ultimately Pittsburgh's going to take him. I do. I think that he will go at 21. The Steelers have need, and it makes sense for them at that point. Mike Tomlin, I think, would be a perfect head coach for him to come in with and to learn the ins and outs of what you've got to be a quarterback that is trusted and looked upon as a leader in the NFL. There's not many guys that you can get to that would be better than Mike Tomlin. So for me, you put a gun to my head figuratively, I would say 21 to the Steelers for Shedeur.
At the risk of sounding completely cynical, for as much as we sing Mike Tomlin's praises, how did he do with Justin Fields? Oh, Justin Fields is no longer with the team anymore. How great was an influence was Mike Tomlin with Russell Wilson? Oh, that's right. Russell Wilson is no longer with the team. Mike Tomlin is a great coach, but let's not turn him into the quarterback whisperer where he could turn around any guy and does he have a great relationship with all these quarterbacks because he's going to be a Hall of Fame head coach. Mike Tomlin had two talented quarterbacks and struck out with both, or I should say, got rid of both. I don't know why everybody believes suddenly Shedeur Sanders is going to be a perfect fit with Mike Tomlin. Clearly, Tomlin wasn't a perfect fit with the two guys he had last year. So I don't know why everybody's making this assumption. Now,
well,
if you want to say that,
yeah, I'm not going to say perfect. I'm not going to say. Yeah, go ahead.
If you want to say that, I'll give you a team that would be a perfect fit for Shedeur Sanders, the LA Rams. Todd McVay, the system that he runs out of the Shanahan offense, quick passing, so on and so forth. Shedeur Sanders is a smart guy. He can ace a whiteboard. Okay. He makes quick decisions. That to me is a good fit. That to me is a very good fit. The Giants, I think, are a very
not going to argue. I'm not going to argue. Right. I think they are good fits, but it's a question of who's going to be the fit for when the pick is available. And
Correct.
To me, it looks like an intersection of 21 Steelers and Shedeur.
Your NFL career, unfortunately, is decided for you, not by you, depending on where you're drafted. Steve Young was dying when he had to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. We knew he wasn't. until he got traded to the San Francisco 49ers. It is unfortunate. We live in a capitalist society where corporations make big decisions and you're kind of tied to them. It's unfortunate in the NFL that a player cannot go where he feels he is the best fit. Forget about the money, the best fit for him. And you can get buried into obscurity if you go to the wrong place, like Cleveland, right? And it's unfortunate for some of these quarterbacks. With that, that's going to do it for us. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. Tomorrow, busy show. Nuggets, game 3 tonight. The Broncos have a draft. Make it the best possible day you can.